All right, so today we're talking about presenting multiple offers to your seller clients. This isn't a mastermind around how to write good offers or anything like that. So just making sure everyone understands what you're here for. So Clark is actually going to go, we're going to do kind of two portions. We're going to talk about how to do that via command, because that's important that we all know how to use the systems that we, are fortunate and lucky enough to have. And command is a very robust system. So you can actually enter offer information and present to your client that way. I'm going to present more of an old school version, which is how I work with my clients. But who knows, his presentation today may wow me, and I'll hopefully switch to command. So we'll kind of do the two different methods or two different options. So Clark, do you want to go ahead and jump into the command portion first? If that's good, and then we'll do my way second.
Perfect. Can I get a thumbs up that y'all can hear me okay?
Let me turn it up a little bit.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know if this is this volume? Oh, yeah, it's on the computer. Thank you for that reminder.
Yeah, the little volume at the bottom right.
Should be good.
All right, cool. Y'all can hear me well?
Good. No.
No, you can't hear me, or no?
Yes, we can. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, you're good. Just making sure. Don't want to start if y'all can. Let's start my screen share real quick. Okay, so y'all can see my command screen. Just get some thumbs up in the room. You can see my command screen. We're good? Okay, perfect. So I'm over here in one of my fake opportunities that I use for training purposes. As you can see, Testy McTest listing is where we're at. So this would be for your listing opportunity, for your listings, for your sellers, to do your multiple offers and put these in so you can download a clean PDF, or to email these directly to your sellers. You're going to input all offers received from your buyer's agents over on the offers and commissions tab of the opportunity. Same place you go to get everything closed out to get your checks. You're going to go over there to input the multiple offers. Now, Jake's going to touch on his traditional system. He's got 4 offers on that spreadsheet that he's going to go over with y'all. I've already input 3 of the offers. I'm going to work through the 4th one right now, just showing y'all, in case you haven't gotten paid through command yet or done this before, how to add this other offer. So I already took the liberty in here of putting in all the information for 3 of these offers that he's going to go over. And I'm going to add the 4th one right now. So to add any offers, it's up here on the top right under the notes and timeline button, that teal add new offer button. When we click on that, I'll call this offer number 4 for the last one. And just like when you're getting ready to get paid, it's going to ask you these deals right here. So on his example, this closing for this 4th one is set for May 28th. We'll say that this is Minnie Mouse, Arnold agent. This is just the parties involved. And here are the terms that your sellers will definitely want to be checking out for these deals. So we've got 3,000, let's see. Oh no, 325 down. So this is an all cash offer right here, 325. Got their earnest at 3,000. Their option fee on this is 150 for 4 days. And they are doing no home warranty and no settlement costs. And then I'll just paste in his feedback right here that he's going to go over with y'all. So again, there's 4 parts to this. I'll go back to show you again. There's the information, just the offer name, the date that you received the offer from the buyer's agent, and the closing date. There's the parties involved. So it'll autofill your seller's information and your information as the listing agent. And then you'll go in and put in the buyer's name and the buyer's agent name. That's my Zoom, dude. The terms right here, this is probably the most important page right here. Make sure you're double checking this part, your cash, your finance, earnest money, option fee, all of that right there. And then if you want to put in pros and cons, this is the place to do it. Whenever you have this side-by-side comparison of all of these offers, it's going to show the pros and cons in the summary as well. So if you have things that you'd like to put in there, I definitely recommend that so that your sellers have some direction on where to go from here. I will save that. And now y'all can see I've got 4 offers in here, 1, 2, 3, and 4 of my offers. At this point, to make this downloadable PDF or to email this to your clients, right over here where it says offer timeline, there's a select all button once you add more than 1 offer to any of these. And when you hit that select all button, it'll select all 4 of them right there. And over on the right under timeline and next to the add offer button, we have what is now open is compare offers. And when you click on that, you first of all get this side-by-side comparison. This is exactly what the clients are going to see when they receive this. So it's got the buyer's names, sales price, cash down, financing, so on, so on. It's got all this information on here, the summaries, pros and cons. You could check if they were pre-approved or not when you were doing that as well. So this gives a very, very clean breakdown to all of the offers received. I know if you're receiving 25 offers, this could be crazy and annoying. You may want to go the Excel route that Jake is going to show y'all as well once this is moving along. But it's really up to y'all what you want to do here. If you want something simple like that, you can do that. Or if you like how this looks, my favorite part about this is that you can email this directly to the client. They get it within about 30 seconds or so in my testing when I've done this. So you can, if you want to, hit the download button to get that PDF. So you can see the downloadable PDF right here. If you did want to save that and have that ready to go, it's the exact same thing that we just saw a moment ago. And also next to that download button, we have an email offer comparison button as well. When you click on that, it'll just confirm the client's name, your seller's name right here, or their email. The subject title will be, you have X amount of offers, whatever the number of offers you put in there. And then the email message just defaults to, great news, you have 4 new offers. You can write in whatever else you want to on that. You can also hit the little checkbox down here to send a copy to my email. When you hit send, you'll get the teal bar that it's sending and then the green one that it was successfully sent. And when a client receives that, this is what it looks like. So because I'm on a team, it came from our Rainmakers account. That's why it says Chip up there. Fake One was my client name in this for the seller. Hi, Fake One, great news. You have 3 new offers. And they can see the breakdown of everything that we just discussed as well. So if you're doing this on your own and then email this over to your client and have a phone call with them to discuss these things or give them an hour, talk about it as a family, this is very, very, very simple for you to present these multiple offers in a pretty clean way, in my opinion. It doesn't look too shabby. Jake, did I miss anything? Is there something else you want me to go over in regards to this?
So when it emails, it does not do the side-by-side comparison via email, or if you hit compare offers, because I really like the side-by-side view. That's one of the reasons I use Excel.
So when they hit that compare button, it does bring up the side-by-side as well. So it's really up to you if you want to see it down the list or side-by-side.
Can you go
Hit the
back?
button compare offers in the email.
Right here at the top,
Okay, so
compare offers.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Does everyone understand the process, or did anyone need to see a portion of
I have
that?
a question to you, Clark. So
Yes.
you showed us 4 offers and they look pretty neat on that little PDF. What if I have 14? How would that PDF look like at that point?
It would just be a lot more to the sides, or it may just enter down and have another row of them.
Space 14 columns into one page.
Say that again.
I know.
Would that look like 14 columns into one table?
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I haven't tested it with 14 offers. It'll be clean no matter what. It won't be illegible. I'm sure they have a certain amount of rows it'll go over before it makes a new page basically.
It actually looks like when you opened it this time that there were only 3 on one page. So
that was, I sent that to myself prematurely so that I could pull it up quickly
okay.
for you all. Yeah.
Before I did that, okay.
Is there a way that I can send it to myself first to make sure it looks clean?
Yes, ma'am. So over here in command, when you're doing the select all and then compare offers again, when you're doing the email offer comparison right here, you can, to test this for yourself, change the email address right here of the client or real client in your case to your own email. And you could just send that to yourself directly to make sure that it does look as you would like before you send that off to the client. I'm sorry, I haven't tested it with 14 offers at once to see how that would look, but I'm sure it'll be legible and just fine.
Donna has 32. She said you could enter those for her. And
Oh, she let me? She's supposed to.
yeah,
She's
let
the
you.
best.
Let him, yeah. Luckily, my husband.
Is there a way that if you have, when you have multiples and you want to sort them in a certain way for your client to see them? But let's say the one you really wanted at the top, you entered last. How do you move them around before they get them?
We don't have a moving around tool, so to speak. It just goes in chronological order as you enter them in. So if you have one that you want to show closer to the front or at the top, I would just input that offer first if I were you.
However, there's also, if you input them as you receive them, that's why there's also, one of the things I didn't really notice beforehand was the pros and cons and summary, which I actually, in my Excel spreadsheet, I have a space for my comments and then my client's feedback as well, which we'll go over. So if you have one that's your favorite, put that in a summary of pros and cons, you know, star, you know, top, you know, my suggestion or whatever. I'll rate my offers 1 through whatever. But a lot of times my top 2, I'll just put 1/2. Like I don't want to lead them to an offer, you know, it's
We
like,
color coded.
yeah, you know, but I try really hard not to be like, this is the offer you should
Right.
accept. You know, I want them, again, it's their decision, their property. I don't want to twist anyone's arm to take an offer, you know, so I would just be careful with that a little bit, but yeah, I mean, that's why
That's
there's
really
that huge
cool.
summary section there. It looks exactly like my spreadsheet. So, yeah. All right, cool. Okay, any other questions for the command portion? Did everyone understand how to get to this? Where it is in command? It is in the opportunity for your listing. And then you go to offers and conditions. And then Clark, so what happens once so let's say your clients can accept one of those offers, you go through and decline the other offers and accept the one, correct?
Yes, so let's say that we wanted to take that cash offer that was Minnie Mouse
we
right
just
here.
won.
We want to do that quick close in a week and a half or 2 weeks. You could go right here to just accept on the one you want to work with. You don't have to reject the others. Once you accept one, it automatically closes out the ability to accept it. If you ever make a change or accidentally accept the wrong one, need to make a change, you can just hit the change response button right here. It'll say, are you sure this is going to change your closing date and anything like that? Yes, I want to change that. And then they all go back to accept or reject once again. So if something changed, something happened, you can very easily toggle between the two. Just make sure that you don't go all the way through the commission process to get paid with Christy in MCA until you know which one that you're working with for sure for the sellers. Okay, just make sure y'all keep that in mind. But yeah, you don't have to reject every offer that you're not going to work with. You just need to accept the one. So if it was this cash one, we accept. And then once we get in there, we can go to manage commission, you know, assuming you'll get through option period just fine and they don't terminate for any reason. You could go ahead and input your commission tab as well and get that submitted to Christy and MCA so that they can get working on what they need to for your compliance and your check and all of that, so that it's all your ducks in a row to get paid on time.
Another option for when you have 32 offers, quite a few of them will probably be very similar, or you may have a gap of like 5 or 6 that are really good, and then maybe the others are all, you know, not as strong. You can always, we're legally supposed to present every offer, but you can ask your client, we have these that are over this threshold and these that are under this. Do you only want to see the ones that are above this mark? As long as they give you the written permission to only present the ones that are above that, then you're not having to enter all the other ones that you know as an agent and explain to your client, these are not going to net you anywhere near what these will. You only want to see these. So you don't have to go through the process of presenting 32 offers if 28 of them are crap and 4 of them are strong.
So how do you document it properly? So
Via
nobody-
email.
Just emails, like, do you want to see only offers above that amount?
I say we have offers that are in this range and offers that are in this range. My suggestion would be to save time and hassle, we only look at the ones that are in this top range.
And as long as they say, okay,
Yeah.
you're covered, right?
Correct. Yeah, you don't have to, I mean, if they give you the go ahead, and they can do that from the very beginning, they can say, I don't want to see any offer that's below X. If that's what they, as your client, are telling you to, that's the direction you follow.
As long as it's in writing.
I mean, it's smart to have it in writing, and they can tell you anything verbally and you can still follow it, but I get everything done in writing anyways. Does that make sense? So I mean, as you're looking about what looks good or how to go through, again, if you have that many, I mean, Donna, if you're 32, probably, I mean, how many strong ones were
There
there?
were 10 that were at the top.
Yeah.
I mean, there were great offers, but we
Right.
went through all of them.
Yeah. But 10 are the ones that you realistically, those are the real ones that you should have gone through the fine tooth comb.
Right,
basically.
right, absolutely.
So if you're entering, if you're gonna do it either way, same thing, you don't have to enter 32 or 50 or even 14, whatever it is. Just get the permission from your clients to only present the ones that are strong. And just discuss that threshold with them. Okay, any other questions for command? Clark's gonna stay on just in case we have other
Yeah.
comments. I'm gonna hop over to, I'm gonna steal the share screen. There we
Yep,
go.
You're good.
All right, can everyone see this? So I do everything in Google Sheets. A lot of my stuff with clients is done through the Google Suite. Again, we have that through Keller Williams. It's easy to share documents, add my clients as editors, commenters, whatever it may be. So you'll notice it's a very similar look. I mean, we've got offers at the tops and then the different kind of information. So mine has changed versus like when I first started. So I had my very first listing a year ago, and we actually did have multiple offers, but it was not the crazy kind of market that it is now. There were no appraisal waivers or anything like that yet. It just was, I would say, standard terms and conditions. So I've added a couple of rows to mine now to include appraisal information, because that's a really big factor right now. So information that I cover on the left, and I kind of go down the contract and pull out all the key items in order. So loan type, price, down payment. So all of that is also in command. Actually, I think in command, you don't enter whether or not they're conventional FHA or VA.
Correct. You can do that in the
correct.
details tab, but it does not show up on that comparison. But you
So as
could
we
include
go-
it in your summary if you want.
As I go through, I'm going to highlight the differences versus what I do versus command. So loan type is different. So price and down payment, earnest money is also in command, option fee and option days, that is all in command. Appraisal waiver is not.
Correct.
Title,
That's not a field to enter in. No, not like the 12A1B for closing costs or the home warranty.
who's covering the title policy. So yeah, so I'll explain all. I'm just like want to get through the rows first. Survey, is that in command?
No, it's not.
Okay, what about home warranty is though, correct?
Yes. Home warranty and paid closing costs by the seller are.
Okay, closing date,
Yes,
but possession date is not, correct?
correct.
All right, and then the payoff, and then on any other buyer request, you can put that in notes, correct?
Yeah, summary.
Okay. So you can see just from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 5 additional things that I track that command does not. Again, and that's kind of, in reality, that's kind of a reflection of the market that we're in right now. Buyers are more willing to pay survey, buyers are doing appraisal waivers, buyers are more willing to pay the title, whereas normally a lot of times seller would pay for title. And then possession date. So one of the things that we negotiate a lot right now is we may close on the 27th, but not take possession until the 5th, whatever that may be. So I've added that column to mine as well. One of the other differences for mine is I only do offers by number. I don't include the names. So I have the offers numbered on my side, but my clients only see the numbers. They don't see any names of contracts. I'm really big into fair housing. I feel like I've already had like a couple of things where clients have felt like maybe they were discriminated against. So I just remove as much personal information as possible. So my clients only
If
see.
you'd like to do that in command, you can just make the buyer names offer 1,
Offer 1.
buyer name
Okay.
offer 2. That way you're doing the same thing.
Does that mess up anything though when you go to do commission?
No,
Okay.
the buyer's name isn't on the commission, so it's okay.
Okay. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Awesome. So then the top section for me is kind of like all the basics of the offer. So that's going to be those stuff that's black and white, nothing that's really going to change or anything like that. The same stuff that's in command. So you can see we both did the same for offers. So what I do is I highlight for me, it's offer 1 and offer 3 right now. Those are my top 2 that I've been recommending, or that the strongest offers in my opinion. And so again, it just tracks everything that we've entered. But again, I add in appraisal waiver. So you can see offer 1, offer 2 did not have an appraisal waiver. Offer 3 had a full appraisal waiver. So, and then title, and I always note about how much the title policy is going to cost. And I get that from any of our title companies, all have apps. And so you can enter the sales price and it tells you about how much that policy is going to cost. So then for my clients, if they know that like the buyers are covering it for all of these, but maybe say one of them, the seller was covering, they would know then that's a $2,000 difference there because I've already looked up to figure out about how much title policy is going to be. And then I enter who's writing or who's covering the survey if it's needed. And then home warranty, closing costs if there's going to be any, closing date, and then possession date, again, because there's a big difference between the two. And then I include their payoff amount because down here I'll actually have it calculate about what their net is going to be on here. And then buyer requests. So I've shared this document with other agents and they're like, what do you mean by buyer request? This is if they're asking for appliances to be thrown in, or they want the house to be professionally cleaned, or this is those little things that buyers will sometimes ask for that are out usually in special provisions or, you know, even sometimes included in an amendment that you'll get at the time of contract.
Do you do the non-realty
The
items
non-realty.
here or?
Yeah, so that's where I put it in buyer requests. Is I just include any of those things will just go into buyer requests, like refrigerator, washer and dryer, refrigerator, washer, dryer, professionally cleaned, those kinds of things. I just put it all in there. And so my clients see that portion. And then down below, I provide my feedback, which is just like the pros, cons, and summary and command. And then I give a section for my clients to provide feedback as well. A lot of times that this is done like during the day in between appointments, my clients will do it at work. We'll set up a time to call and review. But if I can get their feedback or notes before I'm on the phone, I prefer that. That's just how I am. I like to go into everything prepared. But what do you mean incrementally?
You said you wanted to send it before you guys discussed. Let's just say you have 3 offers now, but you have 6 offers by.
Well, I'm not going to have offers after highest and best, and I'm not putting this together until after highest and best is completed. Yeah. And so usually if highest and best is at 6 o'clock Sunday night, I'll send this over and say, you know, we're either going to connect Sunday night or we'll connect Monday morning or whatever it is. And I tell the buyer's agents that like highest and best is this time. I'm not even presenting until this time and we'll have a decision made at this time. I float that out. Yep.
I guess to her point though, if you have a client who wants to see offers as they come in, maybe that is an editable document.
It is.
and
Yeah.
you could add to it.
Right. Even as I was putting these offers in today for Clark, like I was editing it, he could review it at the same time. Because that's the thing with Google Sheets is you share the document. I share it to my clients as a commenter only, or occasionally an editor so that they can enter like in the feedback section. But I don't, when you share in Google, so if you share a Google Doc or a Google Sheet or anything from the Google Drive, you share that with someone. It's a link that you send. So up here at the top, I click share. I don't know where that button, where you go. So right now, the only people on this document are myself and Clark. When I add someone else, and see Clark is only added as a commenter, which meant he couldn't change anything on my Google Sheet. If I'm sending it incrementally or early, I would add them as just as commenters. Then once it's done and I have the last offer added in, you can change them to an editor, and that's where they'll actually be able to add in the fields their comments. Otherwise, like as a commenter, they can, the comments show up differently. They're all over the place. And it's not, I don't like that, but you can do it that way. So let's pretend that, so now I've got my feedback in, and for the offer one, you know, it's a conventional offer and the list price in this house is $325. So they came in at $350, but no appraisal waiver. So I tell my clients, hey, we priced at $325 because we think that's what it's worth. The appraisal could come in at $325. You're not guaranteed that $350, that extra $25,000. Whereas offer 3, they came in at $335 and guaranteed it by offering an appraisal waiver. So I explained that in the notes. And then I also explained that the agent for offer 3 called me and said, what terms do you want to see? So I make notes like the buyer's agent was, you know, communicated well. They asked what we wanted, you know, those kinds of things I think are important to communicate to your clients. So it's always important to do that. I've seen another version of this from another agent that has a section where you rate the buyer's agent on how well the offer was written and how communicative they were during the process. Yeah, so I don't get it like a number rating. I just put it in my notes. Like if they were bad, I note it. And if they're really good, I note it. Otherwise, they're just average and that's fine. So I put in, again, all those notes, and then I would click the share button and it just shares it via link to my client. And they can go through, like I said, make comments, enter their feedback, and then we set up a phone call to review. So really the two processes are very similar. It actually makes me kind of like wonder about, I may switch to command. The only difference to me is, again, right now with what we're doing, it's the 5 things, additional things that I track, but there are ways that you can add that into the notes and command. You could add that into pros. That would be an option, just to add all those things into the pros, so it would still be trackable. I just think it kind of depends on your situation. Not every listing is going to have appraisal waivers and 42 offers. So, but that is one of the things I cover with my clients. We do the threshold. If we get a ton of offers, we're only going to look at this section, if that's okay with you. They usually say yes. They don't want to look at 42 offers. One of the other things that I agreed to talk to about this during this class was buyer letters and pictures. So I know Donna just rolls her eyes because we're tired of hearing it and tired of talking about it. As a listing agent, I'll advise how I handle that, but it's something that you guys have to decide on your own. I tell my clients, hey, occasionally to persuade you, a buyer's agent is going to tell their client to write a really lovely letter and usually include a picture of their 2 kids and their dog Kip, and it's going to look really good. They may not be the strongest offer, but you may fall in love with them as a family and you may be persuaded. What I recommend, seller, is that we look at the math and the numbers. You don't know anything about them. You just want to look at the black and white, what's going to net you the most money. Once you have an offer and we accept that and you're out of the option period, if they've shared a letter or provided pictures, I'm happy to provide that to you if you're comfortable with that, if you want to see it. A lot of times they say that when you explain, we all know as buyer's agents, we're doing that to try to manipulate the situation, right? We're trying to gain favor. We're trying to show hey, my client really wants this. So as a seller's or a listing agent, you know that to be the case. So I just try to tell them it's a tactic. Let's remove that from the equation. Let's look at the numbers only. And it also then saves me any hassle, because if there's someone that loses out, and James Tan was just talking about this the other day, that there was someone here that's dealing with a complaint because they did not go with one offer, and that offer feels like they were discriminated against because their name on the contract, because they felt like they had the strongest offer. So I try to remove that possibility for my clients, and protect myself as a listing agent. My clients don't ever see any of that information before we go under contracts. There's no way that they can possibly be accused of discrimination, because I have all this to show. They never saw a name, they don't see a picture, they don't see any of that. Occasionally you will have a client that says, I've had some that's no, I want to see those, because money isn't the driving only factor for some people. They want to know the house that they've been in for 30 years and raised their family. They want to know who it's going to. And if that's the case, then you present it until our local board refuses to allow them anymore, which is possible. Houston's already gotten rid of them. You're actually not allowed to include them in offers in Houston. So I would imagine that we're not going to be far behind. Did you have a question?
I was just, do you see any value in relating to your client, whether it's an investor or an owner occupant?
I usually don't. Again, it skews people emotionally. And so I'm well, because there are some people that are I don't want to sell to an investor. They're going to come in and flip it and not do a good job. I'm you don't care, you're selling the house. If I have someone that's very vocal about knowing the difference, again, because it's been a family home, I think you can kind of tell the difference between the people that are almost emotionally anchored to their property and the ones that have been in it for 5 years and they're just moving on to something bigger. They usually don't care. But the family, it's they've raised kids and grandkids in their family, they sometimes will care more. And so I think those are the ones that I'm more open to discuss that with, but also telling them the benefits of it going to an investor is they're going to fix it, change it, do all the things that you're unable or unwilling to do for another family. It's going to go through one round of an investor and then it's going to go to a happy family. So.
And
Mhm.
on mine, I had another agent do an open house on mine yesterday, and one of the buyers dropped off a gift with a letter in it and everything else, and the agent texted me and said, "Did you get the gift?" And so it's a bottle of wine, but it was just, I've never had that. I've never had a gift dropped off.
Split it with your clients as you accept
what?
another offer.
It was a good offer, but
Right. Right. Yeah.
let's just talk about
Yeah.
it.
I
Yes.
just have a question though. So let's just say that we have 3 people waiving appraisal, right?
Uh-huh.
Let's just say that I feel it's full appraised to 325 and they are putting 350.
Mhm.
But they're not waiving appraisal. When I do the seller net sheet, how do I do a seller net?
I do mine as a range. So it could be 158 to 178. If you look under offer 1, that's exactly what this offer was, 350, but no appraisal waiver.
So you just
So
then present it to the range.
yep. Yeah. And I tell them, we priced it at 325 because based on comps, that's where we think it's going to sell. If that's where we think it's going to sell, it's likely going to appraise there. So 350 is just picking a number out of a hat for that agent and for that buyer. They think and some buyers agents will do that. They'll throw out the highest number possible, not include an appraisal waiver because they know at appraisal, we'll have to renegotiate it. And so they'll wow you with a really impressive contract price, planning on renegotiating once you have an appraisal come through. So again, I tell my clients, plan on it being close to the list price. If you get any offer above list price, you want either a partial or a full waiver at this point, because appraisers aren't catching up to it's this. So appraisers are looking backwards and our sales prices are lifting this quickly. So appraisers are going to be behind. That's just the nature of the game right now with how quickly our prices are increasing. Yes, sir.
So regarding the appraisal waiver, does it mean that the buyer will assume if the appraisal is below whatever was hired, the buyer is willing to pay the additional?
It is. So the appraisal waiver addendum has two different options that are used most commonly. The first one is a full waiver. So on like offer 3 of this one, the list price was $325. They offered $335, but said it would give a full appraisal waiver. So let's say that house only offered or only appraised for $300. That buyer would bring an extra $35,000 in cash. If it only appraised for $100, it's like worse. Again, it's not likely, but no matter what it appraised for, they're going to bring the difference in cash. So it's important to explain that to your clients. If they fill out that waiver, there's no, oops, I don't really have that amount of cash. You confirm with your client, you confirm with your client's lender, do they actually have the additional reserves to cover this amount of cash? And you as a listing agent, again, when we're looking at offers, I call that buyer's lender and say, do they really have the cash for this? And the lender is going to tell you, like, we're good, everything's great. I mean, they can't tell you how much they have, but they're allowed to disclose, like, yes, they can write this offer and be good in good standing. The other one, well, let me explain the other option first for your other question. The second option is called a partial waiver. So let's say that they offered $350 and they agreed to cover the appraisal as long as it at least appraised for $325. So if it appraises built at $324,999, they can still walk away from the contract. As long as it appraises at anything above $325, they'll pay the difference. So you have a full waiver and a partial.
Okay, and that document, is that provided by the listing agent or is it the buyer?
Buyer's agent will fill that out. Just like a 1-to-4 contract, you'll go in and put together
submit
all,
that to-
yes, you would submit it. If your clients are comfortable and financially in the state that they can do that, you would submit it. Here's another thing that like I put in my comments and notes for my clients when I do this. I also put in like, did they include the seller's, like if I take the time as a listing agent to upload documents to Transaction Desk and you as the buyer's agent do not take the time to have your client fill those out at the time of your offer, I put that in here. I'm like, buyer's agent kind of lazy. They didn't get all the documents filled out because I want my clients to know, like, it may be a headache. We may be dealing with a lot of back and forth because the agent is not a strong agent. And you can tell that from the way that the paperwork is filled out. If they didn't include the seller's disclosure, didn't include third-party financing addendum, didn't include HOA addendum, didn't include the non-realty items addendum, and any of those things, if they don't include any of that, I want a full, complete offer. This is a kind of a small thing, but on the last page of the contract, when you enter all the agent information, if they only enter their own information and don't fill out the right-hand side, I put that in here as well. Lazy agent, didn't fill out contract fully. So I put that in my notes section, like this is actually short. My notes sections can get pretty long and lengthy, just of like bullet points of this is what's going on with this offer. But again, you can do that in Command as well. And I actually like in Command because I only have one column here. I like in Command that it's pros, cons, and summary. I really, really like that. Any other
Is there
questions?
any chance to include, and this question is for Clark, is there any chance to update, because I do feel that the appraisal waiver is too important not to have in the.
You have to remember that Command is a global platform. So not although a lot of real estate markets are like ours right now, there are other markets that are not in the same state that we are. So they're not going to say like, hey, Dallas, Texas is really jumping right now. Let's have Command accommodate them. That's why they give those free form sections like pros, cons, and summary. You could actually put in the pros, is including full appraisal waiver, is including partial appraisal waiver. You could put that there.
The you mind sharing that template?
Yeah, no, anyone that wants this, just email me, jakelangford@kw.com, and I can share it with you. And you can download it. Do not edit mine. You can download it to your Google Drive, and then you can edit it.
When you present offers, if they ask you, what is the difference between FHA, Winchester versus VA, do you kind of go over it?
I do.
Appraisal implications, et cetera?
Absolutely, I go over it because, you know, VA and FHA can both have more stringent appraisals. They can also both have different inspection processes, not for your inspector, but an FHA, during an FHA appraisal, if they go on site and there's bushes touching the side of the house, they can call that out and say, you know, the bushes need to be trimmed back 14 to 16 inches. So there's all kinds of little nitty gritty things. VA requires a termite inspection, whereas FHA, conventional like those don't necessarily do that. So there are differences between the types of financing. So it's important to your buyer. That's why I was surprised loan type isn't in Command, because that's why it's the first thing on mine, is because I do think that's very important. I'm not a fan. I've got, you know, there are agents out there right now that are saying, oh, like if you're FHA, just don't submit. I would never say that. There can be strong FHA offers. It's just that your client needs to be educated on the difference. And sometimes I don't think you can, but there are agents, there are agents that will tell you that right now. I had one that called me that I was talking about, you know, hey, here's the offer we're considering submitting. I just want to kind of go over it and see. I always call ahead and see, you know, are there any other terms? And they're like, yep, what is your financing type? And I said FHA. And they're like, oh, don't even submit. We already have conventional offers that are over. I'm like, there are other ways for me to write a good offer besides going over on list price. And even with FHA, technically you can go over list price. There's a way to manipulate it. So that's an agent that I don't want to work with either as well, you know? So it's like, I tell my client, like, we can submit an offer still. This is what they said. Let's find an next property that's got a, you know, a reasonable seller and listing agent.
But do you include that comment on your comment section that, for example, if I know that I have a VA and the appraisal might come in longer for a VA?
You can include that in the comments. I include it when we talk through it, because I think that the nitty gritty stuff is kind of hard to explain via text. So if like, it just so happened in this one, they're both conventional, but if I had one that was FHA and one that was conventional, I would go over that information when we did the follow-up phone call to review everything. That's the thing, is neither this nor Command takes the spot of you being on the phone or at the kitchen table with your client and discussing these things in real life. It's just a quick way to get them the information before you get there, so that they have time to review it and ingest it a little bit before you're going through everything. But yeah, your job as an agent is still to discuss it with them and walk them through all the pros and cons and all the details. Yeah, I'll email or I'll respond to her. She's just asking for my email address. Oh,
What's his name?
Jake Langford, Langford @kw.com. Yep.
Good information.
Good. Hopefully everyone, you know, again, we should be using Command as much as possible. So there is a way for Command to track everything that I have on mine. You can enter in the pros and the cons and the summary. So the other good thing about Command doing that is Command eventually is going to, from what I've heard, Bill, right, it's gonna be able to kind of talk you through an offer and say, like, based on previous information, this offer would be stronger if you did this, or this offer would be better if you did that. Kind of. So the more information we feed Command and the more we put in offers and it sees what works and what's rejected, Command gets smarter. So that eventually, I'm not saying anytime like next week or in the close future, but eventually Command is going to be able to do a lot more robust things. But the smarter, like the more information we feed it, the smarter it gets. So I should probably be switching to Command as well. I know. It's one of those things, if you're already set in a system, you're like, oh, this works. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, this works, and then, you know, whatever. But
it looks very easy. And
yes, and I can say that I do really enjoy like seeing the version that Command emails. I think it's much prettier than mine. I'm sending them an Excel spreadsheet. Obviously, the Command version looks much more professional. It's branded. It looks much better. So that is one of the things I'm very impressed with seeing it in Command, is that it looks far more professional. Yes, absolutely. All right. Any other questions? Cool.